So George is about 17 and she's just going to town on that dish. It's got a baked chicken in it today. Just get right in there, Georgia. You go to town, girl. You go, girl. You do you. You do chicken paste. Some say this cat's spoiled. Every morning, it pops up here and waits till somebody turns the water on. And then it jumps away when it's done. Look at this serious look on its face. Yeah, and then just leaves it running. Okay, since I barely worked on this last weekend, well, I had to get the post up there and that's got them in there, but nothing was screwed in here. So I got the stuff to use to paint pressure treated wood when you make cuts, and I dabbed a bunch down there. I put the screws in there. Now, when you only got 3 inches down there holding on, you've got a 10-foot lever. Obviously, that's problematic. So, turns out that the piece that I took out of there ends right in the middle of that 2x4, 2x6 that I put in there, 2x10 actually. So I toe-nailed it in, or screwed it in either side, and then did some toenails in this way. It was very hard to get my hand all the way underneath there, and it's all mud down there, and I don't want to sit down there. If this was 2 weeks ago when it was perfectly dry, it would be no problem going underneath there. But anyway, I got 4 screws holding this in there. So I screwed it together and realized afterwards that this wasn't perfectly level. So now I'm putting a shim in there because it turns out that it just needs to move over this way. So yeah, then I cut this. It almost fits. I just need to, I didn't want to cut this if at all possible because that leads lots of strength, but I'm gonna have to come back a little bit. Of course, that's gonna be sitting on a 2x, I'm gonna use a 2x6 across here, and then I'll screw that in as well. Then that will get me to about there, and over to here. Then I'll put another short piece, a couple pieces in here. Then I'm just gonna cut these tiles and plop them down. I can put one of these stones back, 2 of these stones back. Just the one stone here that will need to be cut eventually. That way, this is not gonna fall over because it's locked in down there, and I can move on to that side. I just really want to get this in. The dog has fallen in there before, and just might as well do it. So once that's done, I'm gonna just move this aside, paint that up there. I couldn't do this yesterday because it was raining. Obviously you can't paint wet paint like this on top of dry, wet wood. Then I'll do the same thing over there. Once I get that back up there, after I painted the protectant, then we'll start laying some joists. What I decided is I'm gonna lay about 4 over there and about 4 over there and 1 over there. Then figure out a way to lift this outer board because the deck's actually gonna come out to here, about a foot. So that outer board, which gets nailed to the outside, just like this one, goes to the ends of the joist. There's nothing naturally supporting that. However, once I got a couple across here, I can lay a piece of wood and clamp it so I make like a little trough, plop it on top, and then do the same thing here. It's gonna take 2 people to put it up there, but I need something to hold it up there. Then I screw it in. Once it's in place, then I'll start putting the joist hangers in, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. I do have to put the other board up before I do all that, because the joist screws are gonna go through both pieces of wood. But yeah, we'll get this out. At least tonight, I'll have almost, well, 2 out of 3 pieces down, and this will be flush. And then, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get to that because I got an hour and a half, but at least I got this one done. Then maybe tomorrow do that, and just keep working at it. Once this is in place, I'm at a point where I can then just start shooting things in there, and then, you know, whether it takes 1 hour over, if it takes 8 hours over 8 days, or 1 day at 8 hours, it doesn't really matter at that point. Okay, so I moved this board over so it's overhanging less because I thought I needed some wood. Turns out I doubled the number of joists I needed. So I needed 11, so I bought 13 boards. It's new math. Don't quite understand because I'm cutting those boards in half. So yeah, got plenty of extra wood. So earlier this week, I locked this into place, bolted it, or screwed it into the bottom on the metal plate, as well as provided supports across and then nailed that to the supports. So that's all tied up. So probably this weekend I'll go around. It looks like I just need to take this piece and right into there. I'm gonna cover the tops of the joists with the rubberized stuff before I do that, and then I'm gonna climb underneath there and put some screws in, and then put the tiles back in permanently, fix on this cloth here. The cloth here is just to hold the sand in for when you're pouring the sand. So eventually I'll be cleaning all these sand joints out and repouring it, which will be easy because it'll be bound by all these. Whereas when I was coming across, I had to make like little dams and it never worked out right. Plus I think I'm gonna do it in 2 lifts because I've been learning on that. Some of the sand over here is, this section I did was perfect. It is really hard. So over here, straighten this up. And like the other side, I screwed it in on the plate. Then I built a little wooden frame around here and then screwed that into here. So she's wiggly on top, but she's sturdy on the bottom. And then of course I cut the plastic pieces, the grating, which the dividing line's right there. So, you know, I'm just gonna trim this tape up, put the 2 tiles back over here that I'd removed to get to that piece. And this one's gonna be a little more challenging because I'm not gonna just make a square hole and drop it in there. So I'll probably make a goofy cut so that the seam is here and here. Then obviously I'll be cutting it out. So I don't know. Maybe I'll make this, cut it out here, and then just put a little piece in there. I don't know. The mind boggles. It's hard to tell. So it's like 8:30. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's getting light over there, but dark over here. It's weird how that works. So next step will be spray some more of this unneeded preservative, wood preservative that smells like complete ass. And my fingers still smell like it 2 days later. I guess you're supposed to wear gloves. I don't know. It says carcinogen. That's a big word. Then I'll start putting the joists in. Now, once I put the joists in, I'm just gonna lay them on top, and then I'm gonna square eyes this, and then drive the final homes through. And then after I've done that, I gotta put the next board up. So I'm only gonna put a couple joists up there, just something to bite into. So this doesn't wobble like that. It will just wobble, 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 wobble. So yeah, been thinking about what we're gonna put on top of this. I keep going back and forth. I know what I really want, but I don't know where to buy it without driving to New York or Tennessee or someplace in Minnesota, or there's another place down there in South Carolina. So yeah, plus again, I want 16-foot boards to go across. So that means 8 feet in the bed, 2 feet sitting out on the back, and then the rest hanging out. So I'd be driving about 8 hours with 6 feet of wood hanging off the back. I mean, nothing could go wrong as long as it'll get T-boned. So yep, there we go. Okay, that was quite a challenge. I got my first joist hanger in. Unfortunately, the joist hanger hangs below the board because these boards are wider than those, and I set this to that thickness drop. So I got my 5% tilt, so water will shed that way. But it's really hard to hold 4 things in your hands: your nail, your hammer, your board, and your bracket, and your level. The level, I just laid it across there. But anyhow, so I just took the board upstairs and put on the rips on the saw and just took a 16th off, and now she's got a nice flat edge on the top. She's no rounded, just flat. And then yeah, she's bolted in there. I used, for the diagonals, I used screws, and then I used the nails, and of course I hit right on the bolt there. So these bolts are staggered, 2 inches in, 10 inches apart. So that's 10 inches from there to there. But since the boards are 16 and these are 10, which means every 5 inches there's a bolt, eventually they hit. So over here I kind of moved one over, but I didn't realize that until after there. And that looked fine, but I forgot to add the joist hanger on there. So the next step is I'm going to do another one down here, probably the one on the edge. then I'm gonna measure out, and then I'm gonna kind of square this up. Because I'm getting tired of my clamps getting rained on. They're starting to rust. I put one bracket up, and I use screws here because it's temporary, because it may need to go this way, or this way. So, and this board here is gonna tuck into there because the way they did this, and then it's gonna come out, that's gonna hit over here, and it's just gonna butt, and then I'm gonna use some square brackets, and then some nails. So, yep, she's getting there. Like I said before, once I get to, you know, this locked in, it's just a matter of just repeating all this and slapping it all together. So, good times. So, if you know where this is new. They've closed 422 in Parkman. That is impressive. Okay, so yeah, I put the second board grafter in. It's over there. She's loosely in there, and we got the two boards in. So the next step is to nail those two together. So I'll be nailing on both sides, then adjust it this way and this way from the ends. It should be pretty good to go right here. Yeah, so I'm gonna trim out the exit. So I need to make sure the distance here is good. No, I need to make sure the distance between the two at the top is the same as the two at the bottom, and then that they're square. For that, I'm gonna use my 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot triangle. Then at that point, then I can lock the timbers, the posts in. My dog's leaving. George, where are you going? She's just going. Right now they're not, the posts aren't attached to the beam. So getting there. Nice looking day, a little warm for me. So I grabbed 3 of these long lag. Okay, so got a nail approximately 2 inches in every 6 inches across on that beam. And then I did the same thing for the most part on the back side. That one needs to go in a little more. But those 2 beams are nailed together. And then I came back up here and I put the rest of the lag bolts in every 5 inches, 2 inches up, blah, blah, blah. And a blowout here. The nails they used, where's the blowout go? There's a blowout right there. The nail stayed and the wood came in. So the wood, well, yeah, the nail stayed, but the wood went in. Yeah. Anyhow, so tomorrow, oh, that's not 90 degrees. I can tell right away. We'll be putting on the rest of the rafters here, and then we'll I don't know, maybe we'll just put 2 more on here, 2 at each end, then put the board up. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Then I could make sure the boards are right to length, or do I make them all the same and then I rush? I don't know. I have to think on that. So but she's getting there. A lot sturdier. I mean, she don't move now, which is what I expected when I tied it together. Okay, so I had to use my power planer because the board on the left was about a 1/4 inch higher than the board on the right, but just for a couple of feet. By the time I got to the post, it was even. So yeah, I got snowed on big time, so I guess I'll take the blower back over here. I even got it on the side of the house. Yeah, that's great. So straighten this one out, put the big triangle down there. Big triangle, kind of see it right there. On these 2 and squared those up, so to speak. I marked out where that board, the end board, which is going to tuck back there, comes out to here, so I know where that goes. And that's going to end. That's just going to end up over there, I guess. I was thinking I would saw. I don't know. Maybe I need to saw first. I need to think about that for a moment. Getting there. Oh, I forgot, I went and bought these beads. These are 4.5 inches long. So these are to tie the post into the two beams. Actually, go this way and tie all that together. Okay, since the boards going across are wider than that board, I can't just put the bracket at the bottom. It's got to be below a little bit. So I came up with this solution. Basically, I took the 16-foot board. This is going to go the outside over here. And now I can clamp blade here. Now it's resting on the other one. It's at the right height. So now I can just clamp along there, getting all the right height, put my hangers on. That frees up at least 2 hands and a couple fuck yous and a goddamn it on each one. So I think we're finally at the point where I can just bang these out. So I've got 9 or 8 more to put in, and then the 2 outer ones. So it's only taking most of the day. I had to go get more brackets and screws, and then I found some estate sales, and then I went to grocery store, got the post office. You know how it goes. Well, that took a bad twist. I thought I had that board level over there. That gives you the idea how heavy these boards are. Now I meant to put a block right here, but Jesus. So yeah, I don't think my spider likes it when I'm hammering over here. He crawled out from underneath here. Not sure what he's doing up there, but I think he's just chilling. Okay, well, despite buying additional brackets, I managed to run out. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 10. I need an 11. And then I put the outsides. So maybe we'll take this as a sign I should go to Home Depot today. But it's definitely looking different. Okay, so we're out on the deck. It's a little precarious. I put that last rafter in. I need to do the outside one. And ironically, I'm thinking to myself, you know, self, maybe you should put another one near the edge. Because a third trip to get brackets, that's nothing. That's just another trip. Because that outer edge isn't going to be really secure tight, because it's going to be screwed in like at an angle, because the way I can't use a bracket, just put it that way, because the wood ends before they made it so that the outer piece slides in against this board, the ledger board. So anyhow, I thought I'd eat some lunch out here. I think I'll just sit down in this nice little chair here. These were the original rafters of the addition put in 29. Unfortunately, they've been outside for the past year, so they're looking a little ragged, but at least they're getting some sun today. One of them right there, it's got a little burn mark from a little fire we had 5 years ago this month, probably next week. Anniversary, I think so, 2006, August 24th-ish, 27, I don't know, around there. So yeah, this is a hot sauce that's fermented. It's kind of unique, so I'm going to dive into that. The dogs are probably confused, because normally we don't open this door and walk out. Okay, so as I ate my lunch, I was thinking, so the next step I need to do, there's some critical things. 3 basic decisions have to be made. One is, I'm going to waterproof this. So I think I'm going to use a membrane that's going to go all the way across here. And then it's going to start out taut here, but then there's going to be a gap down here. It's going to roll off. So the water will come in. Then underneath there will be a gutter. Probably one of them fancy copper gutters, because I always fancy me some copper gutter. Then at the end, I'm going to shoot it off a little bit, and then there's going to be a chain that just comes down. And then there'll be like a bowl down there, so it'll be like a waterfall effect. So that's important, but more importantly, I need to figure out what railing I want. So obviously I'm going to attach the railing to here, to a post there, and then the same thing here to here. But what am I going to do in the middle? Is this going to be 16 feet broken up into, I don't know, what's 3 into 16? There's some number math there. 7, 6, 6 is 18. So it'd be like 5.5 feet. So it'd be done, then 5.5 feet, then 5.5 feet, then over there. Or it's going to be right down the middle, right at 8, which might, I guess, be right here. So why that's important is I got to put blocking in. So basically pieces of wood, secure it in there so that the screws will go in, because I'm definitely doing a surface mount. The other way is to put posts in here, and I just don't like the chunky look of that, and it's overkill. So it'll be attached here, maybe there, maybe there, could be here. And then the third thing is, of course, don't think we're going to be using this for our decking. It's not pressure treated. We'll just leave it there. So do I use cedar? Do I buy IPA, even though it's cutting down rainforests? Or do I go with that Trex crap? Or do I just use pressure treated wood? I don't know. The one I wanted to get is far away, so may have to make that decision. That decision just needs to be done because I got to go secure it. So probably the most important thing right now is the railing, and then the membrane. And I don't want to put the membrane up until I'm pretty far along with the blockages. And I got to make the blockages, and I can't go full piece across here for blocking 4 inches back and then expect the rainwater to shoot past that. So I'm going to be a little bit careful on how I do that. Maybe a 4x4 post sandwiched in there. I don't know. Obviously I need to get this board. It's this board out across here. While that's going to be a milestone, it's not terribly important when it happens. Structurally, it doesn't really add anything. So yeah, there we go. It's freaking hot out here. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Sun's right there, shining down on me. Don't have much of an overhang here, and it's humid. It's about 80 degrees, maybe 90. I don't know. 110 feels like. So now, how do I get back inside? I gotta cross the chasm. Okay, so I've been staring at this rust. It's formed over the winter. This area too, but I'm not going to tackle that. So I'd hope that I could just kind of over that. But when I look at these, I'm beginning to wonder if somebody already didn't work on this, because the way the heat is, it just looks like somebody like took a MIG welder and just touched on that. So I'm gonna have to bend all these in, then kind of clean this shit out. I don't know how to do that. And then I'm gonna have to Bondo the fuck out of it. So what's interesting is this is a double wall, but I can't for the life of me figure out what the hell that is. I can't feel the other side. So I don't, there's a piece of metal in there. So it looks like the metal is formed around, and then it starts down here. Then this is just welded to it. I'm not sure. You know what? This might be a good time. I got some lead solder. Maybe it's time to learn how to lead solder. That'd be a perfect application here. And she won't rust. She won't attract magnets, but this is definitely worse than I thought it would be, but that was about what I thought it would be. Yeah, that looks like a heat right there. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's just the primer. Maybe I didn't get through the primer enough. So we're gonna take the flapper wheel on here, and that will just smooth things out. Good thing it's not gonna rain. Yeah, no rain today, except maybe now. Okay, so yeah. What the fuck is this? It's like fabric. Well, there's the rain. Yeah, it's sunny out, and it's raining. Great. What the this is rude. It's like, I don't know what it is. Something that clearly absorbs moisture gives me grief, like a sponge. What the fuck? It's literally like a sponge. And typical Ford. Let's put a sponge behind the paint. What could happen? Really? What could happen? Very odd. This stuff, it's literally like a sponge. I think I have to air hose this out. You know, just sealing this up isn't going to help if it's just going to rust right through. Okay.